You shared some really fascinating material with us, and what stood out was this core idea, really, about putting in the effort, even when you can't immediately see where it's going.
Hmm.
So we're diving deep into this concept. Every time, you need to endeavor the things.
Yeah, and it sounds simple on the surface, doesn't it? But when you actually unpack it, especially for someone maybe like you, who's keen to absorb knowledge
Yeah.
effectively, without feeling overwhelmed, it holds some surprisingly powerful insight.
Insights about how we actually achieve goals, you mean?
Exactly, about how we get there.
Right, because, in a world that seems obsessed with instant wins, instant results, the truth is, real progress, real growth,
Mm.
it often happens in those quieter moments, those less visible times of just consistent effort.
Yeah, the grind.
It's about understanding that the striving itself, it has immense value. So let's maybe start there. When we say endeavor, what are we really talking about in this context?
Well, it's definitely more than just, casually trying something. It's that focused effort, isn't it? That real striving, pushing yourself even when the outcome isn't guaranteed or maybe feels miles away.
Like a commitment.
Exactly. Think of that effort as maybe like a silent sculptor,
Ah,
chipping away at limitations, things you can't even see changing until suddenly progress emerges.
okay.
So that act of trying hard, consistently, it's fundamental. It's crucial to reaching anything really worthwhile.
And the material you shared, it really hammered home that it's not a one-shot deal, not just trying once. It's about repeated effort.
Mm.
Again and again, even when you face setbacks or feel like you're just hitting a wall. Remember that feeling when you first try to learn something totally new?
Oh, yeah.
That awkwardness, feeling completely out of your depth, whether it's, I don't know, a new language, picking up a sport, or even something like public speaking. It feels clumsy at first.
Right. And what's fascinating there, and the material touches on this, is how that initial discomfort, that awkwardness, it gradually fades. But the progress isn't always loud.
It happens underneath.
Yeah, beneath the surface. It's like those silent improvements your brain and muscles are making. Things are clicking into place, even when you don't consciously feel a huge leap forward day to day.
So with that consistent effort, you slowly build that foundation.
Exactly. Your confidence grows, maybe just a little at first, and those early stumbles, they become less frequent. It just smooths out over time.
That's such a key point about growth, isn't it? That it's often subtle, it's internal.
Hmm.
That feeling of increased confidence, maybe a bit less self-doubt creeping in.
Hmm.
It's rarely that sudden, like, Hollywood aha moment.
No, definitely not. It's more of a steady accumulation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Small victories, lessons learned, just building up along the way.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture then, thinking about effort as an investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Even when you don't see those immediate returns, like putting money in a savings account you don't touch,
Right.
you're planting seeds for future growth. You're building that underlying strength, that capacity, even if the results aren't, visible right now.
So nothing is really wasted.
Not if it's genuine, focused effort. It all counts towards something.
Okay, so there was a really compelling personal story in what you shared. It was about someone who used to give up pretty easily.
Yeah, I remember that part.
And they described this turning point where they started asking themselves, what if this is meant for me, but I just haven't earned it yet? That really stuck with me.
Oh, absolutely. That's huge, isn't it?
Mhm.
Because it reflects that shift, that change from what psychologists call a fixed mindset, believing your abilities are just set in stone.
Right. I'm just not good at this.
Exactly. To a growth mindset, where challenges are seen differently, they become opportunities for development, for learning.
So that shift in perspective, believing your efforts can actually lead to growth. That's the key.
Often, yes. It's often what separates those who achieve their goals from those who stay stuck. It becomes less about some innate talent you either have or don't, or just getting lucky,
Yeah.
and much more about that consistent application of effort, just showing up and doing the work.
And that brings us neatly to a quote that really jumped out from the material. Success is not in the result, it's in the effort. Being the best is not so important. Doing the best is all that matters. What
Yeah.
what strikes you most about that?
Well, what's fascinating here is the emphasis, isn't it? It's on the intrinsic value, the value within the effort itself.
Not just the prize at the end.
Precisely. It shifts the focus away from just external validation, like, did I win? Did I get the promotion? Did I get the exact outcome I wanted? And puts it onto the internal satisfaction.
Knowing you gave it your all.
Exactly. Knowing you gave it your absolute best, it suggests that there's a genuine success just in the act of trying your best, regardless of the final score, so to speak.
And in a way, that consistent act of trying your best, of endeavoring, it actually builds something inside you, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Like it builds character, that inner belief in yourself.
Yeah, self-trust maybe.
Hmm.
When you keep showing up, keep putting in the work,
Yeah.
especially when it's hard, you prove something to yourself,
Looks that.
that you can rely on your own ability to persevere, that you can push through.
Right, that self-reliance, that deep-seated knowledge that you're someone who doesn't just back down easily, that must be incredibly powerful.
Oh, it is, and it spills over, you know, into every area of your life. But
Yeah.
let's be real, we all know that putting in consistent effort isn't always easy.
No, definitely not.
What are some of the common hurdles, the things that get in our way?
Well, fear of failure has got to be a big one, right? Just being afraid it won't work out, afraid of looking foolish.
Classic.
Then there's perfectionism, that feeling of, I can't even start until I know it'll be absolutely flawless, which means you often never start.
Right. Paralysis by analysis.
Impatience, too. Wanting those quick results we talked about earlier. That definitely plays a role.
Yeah, we're wired for that instant gratification sometimes.
And we can't forget comparing ourselves to others. You know, seeing their highlight reel online or whatever and feeling discouraged about our own seemingly slow progress.
Ugh, yeah. The comparison trap. Those are all incredibly common and, frankly, understandable obstacles.
So how do we deal with them? Take fear of failure, for instance.
Well, it's a natural human response, isn't it? Nobody likes failing. But real growth, the kind we're talking about, it rarely happens way inside our comfort zone, completely free from any possibility of setbacks.
So you have to accept the risk.
You have to accept that fear might be part of the process. The key, I think, is recognizing that progress comes from taking action despite that fear, not waiting for the fear to magically vanish entirely, because it probably won't.
Just doing it anyway.
Doing it scared
But
sometimes.
that action then, that sustained effort. You mentioned earlier how transformative it is.
Yeah, it really is. The material highlighted how consistent effort can turn aspirations into reality in so many areas. Big dreams, personal healing, building better relationships, achieving professional goals.
It's that steady, persistent paddling that eventually gets the boat across the lake.
That's a good way to put it. It fills the tank little by little.
Okay, so if we connect this back to those setbacks, those failures, it's helpful to reframe how we see them, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. Each attempt, even if it doesn't give you the exact result you were hoping for, it gives you something. It provides valuable information. Feedback.
So it's not about going back to square one each time.
No, not at all. It's more like you're starting the next attempt from a place of greater understanding. You're wiser. You're informed by those previous experiences. You learn what didn't work.
Starting from experience, not starting over. Okay. And for anyone listening right now who might be feeling that fatigue, that discouragement, maybe they feel like they've been putting in the work, endeavoring, but just not seeing the progress they envisioned, what would you say to them?
Look, what's really vital to remember, I think, is that breakthroughs. They often happen when we feel like we're right on the verge of giving up.
Really? Just when you're about to pack it in?
It often seems that way.
Hmm.
It's in those moments of exhaustion, maybe doubt, that pushing through just that little bit further that can lead to significant leaps forward.
Like the final push.
Yeah. Think of it like climbing a really steep hill. That last bit of effort feels the hardest, but the view from the top, it makes all that struggle worthwhile.
Okay.
So if you're feeling that fatigue, definitely acknowledge it. Don't ignore it, but try, if you can, to tap into that last reserve of effort. Keep moving forward, even slowly.
So pulling it all together then, the central message really comes back to that phrase about you saying every time, endeavor the things.
Mm.
And that applies even when it's hard, maybe especially when it's hard, when the progress is unseen by others, or even when it feels like your efforts are just going unnoticed.
Exactly. That consistent effort, that ongoing commitment to striving. It's like you're the architect or maybe the author of your own personal growth.
You're writing your own story.
Yeah, the story of inner strength, of gradual advancement step by step, and of continuous self-improvement.
And ultimately, it seems like life, or maybe just the process of growth, values that effort, that dedication to trying. It values it far more than it demands immediate perfection.
Well said. The crucial thing, as the material you shared makes so clear, is just to keep trying, to keep showing up for your goals, yes, but also just for your own development as a person.
Keep endeavoring.
So let's leave you with that powerful thought. Every time, endeavor the things.
Every time, endeavor the things. And on that note, here's a final question, perhaps, for you to consider. Think about a time in your life when you felt completely drained, like giving up felt like the only sensible option, but somehow you found a way to keep going.
Hmm.
What did that experience teach you about your own capacity for effort, maybe, for growth? And how can you take that understanding, that knowledge of your own inner resilience, and apply it to a challenge, big or small, that you might be facing in your life right now?